Boom, shakalaka-laka. All right. This is our final segment this morning. And for the record, this will be our final segment until Friday. I'm taking tomorrow off. I almost never do that, but I'm going to take tomorrow off. It's Thanksgiving. And I don't care whether you like it or not. You know, when I was saying before the break, I don't want you to send me email that has a link to a YouTube video in it or something like that, or a story in it. I want you to tell me why you disagree with me. You interpret it and then write it out. And if you're too lazy to type me a 2-paragraph email, then don't bother communicating with me. But don't send me an email that says, I disagree with you and here's why. And then send me a link to another website or a YouTube video. You got to be kidding me. Are you construing that as critical thinking? I got you there. It's not. If you're trying to tell me that you watched a YouTube video that has set your opinion in stone and concrete and has cast it like basalt rock, I'm telling you, you're not using your critical thinking skills. If you disagree with me or you agree with me, I expect you to take the time to sit down and type it out. Mike@americasvoicenow.org. Type it out and tell me why you disagree with me. Give me reasonable, well-reasoned, articulated arguments. Use a spell checker. That's too hard. Then don't communicate. What do you want me to say? You see, I expect you, if you follow this program, if you listen to me more than once, if you listen to me once, great. Some people do and hate my guts. That's fine. I couldn't really care less. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to influence people, but I'm definitely not here to make friends. And if you don't like me, don't listen. If you don't like the way I propose it, if you don't like the way I couch it, if you don't like the way I analyze it, if you don't like my voice, my face, my whatever, don't listen. There's plenty of other people out there you can. If you're a long-time listener, I expect you by now, after all the proposals I've given you to how to think critically and how to evaluate and analyze this stuff, and all the times I've said to you that your job, your responsibility, is to utilize critical thinking skills, to evaluate both sides of the argument, to come up with reasoned arguments as to why you believe the way you believe. If you can't articulate that to me in an email, but you're going to sum it up by saying to me, well, watch this guy's YouTube video and it'll explain it, we got nothing further to talk about because you have failed. I know that sounds harsh, but you know what? I don't care. Again, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to pass a message on. And the message is, get your poop together. Time's short. And we need you. But I'm not going to mollycoddle you. You know, I'm like that drill sergeant you love to hate. You know, the guy who walks in and instead of walking over and nudging you and saying, come on, little soldier, it's time to get up. We have PT in a few minutes. Little soldier, wake up. I'm the guy who walks in, grabs the garbage can, and starts hitting it with a baseball bat. And you may not like it, but too bad. Then, you know, go find somebody who will say, little soldier, it's time to wake up. Come on now, rub the sleepy eyes. It's morning time. Not. Use your critical thinking skills. That's what this is about. Education, information, motivation, activation. And if none of those apply to you, hasta la vista, baby. Okay. The National Park Service is on a hunt to incorporate a lot of what I talked about in the second segment was the EPA. And they're on this draft plan. They've been working on this 20-year plan for 5 years. I kid you not. They've been drafting a 20-year plan for the last 5 years. National Park Service has taken over the rivers here called the Ozark National Scenic Riverways. And there are 3 rivers in my area, and I live in a very rural area. And these are gorgeous, beautiful rivers. And they're very popular for horseback riding. They're very popular for people who want to canoe down. They come from Kansas City and St. Louis because this is the recreation playground, if you will, in the Ozarks. And years ago, the federal government came in and took that land away from the state. Now, the state held large tracts of it on both sides of the rivers, and, they maintained it as wilderness areas. But there were a lot of pieces of property that butted right up to the river and were owned privately by individuals. And the federal government came in and took it over and said, by eminent domain, first of all, here's a buyout offer. And if they didn't take the buyout offer, then they took it from them at the point of a gun by pointing their gun at them and saying, now here's an offer you can't refuse, okay? This is how it works. This is what we're giving you, and if you don't like that, we'll take you to federal court. You'll lose because you ain't got no money to fight us. That's essentially what happened, ladies and gentlemen. They came in, and by eminent domain, they either bought people out voluntarily or they kicked them out with some prearranged figure that they wanted to give them, which was lowballed. And they renamed it the National Scenic Riverways. They now control it. And they want to now come in and in this oversight position, and they want to go in there, and it's the Jacks Forks and the Current Rivers, and there are entire stretches of this where they want to do a number of things. One, they want to lock down the usage, and they want to eliminate 65 miles of horse trails that are even adjacent to the river, not on the river, just adjacent properties. Well, that horse poop runs into the water, which, according to the EPA, has a significant nexus. Man, does it all tie together in tyranny or what? Tyranny is like a spider web. You can follow one and it, they all connected ultimately. They want to eliminate 65 miles of horse trails in adjacent property to the river, not even on the river. They want to eliminate unauthorized river crossings. Unauthorized river crossings. They want to require permits for anyone who wants to ride horseback. Well, what you don't know is there's a great place down here where, and it's kind of a BYOH, bring your own horse. And it's a place down here in Eminence, Missouri, where you can come here with your family and you can spend the week there. You bring your horse with you. You can camp there. And people come from all over the country to spend time here. And what they do is they bring their horses with them. Sometimes, one for every member of the family. So they bring 2, 4, 5 horses with them. And they horseback ride for the week. Now, most of them live in suburban communities where, they can't really horseback ride locally and things like that. And CrossCountryTrailRides.com is the name of that place, by the way. If you'd love to go there, if that sounds like fun to you, it's CrossCountryTrailRides.com. By the way, my company built that website, so if you want, there's a good example of some of the web work that we've done. If you need a website for your business, send me an email to mike@americasvoicenow.org, and I'll help you out. I almost never give myself commercials like that, but I'm going to here. Go to CrossCountryTrailRides.com. And they have, sometimes, folks, as much as 1,500 people that gather here. They have 8 of these periods during the course of the year, including one at Christmas. And what they do is they horseback ride. So if they eliminate horseback riding and they require permits for it and they get rid of all these trails, they're destroying her business. And for the record, she provides jobs and gross income and, gross domestic product, if you will, for that area, which is very, 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 low income. They want to eliminate motor vehicle access to the gravel bars. They recently went in and they went to a church that was doing, what do you call it when they dunk you under the water? I've just drawn a complete blank. I did the same thing. I drew a blank on cross-country trail rides, too. just one of them mornings. They want to eliminate all access to these gravel bars. And one of the prime motivators for this was a church that was going in there and doing baptisms in the river. And they would, they would drive, the congregation after a Sunday service would drive to the river, and they would drive down to the gravel bar, and then they would go into the river and do the baptisms there. Oh, we can't do that. They stopped it. Well, we got it reversed with a lot of grassroots activism. But my point is, this is just ridiculous, right? They want to eliminate all ATV, UTV, and four-wheeler use, all of it. And it's not just on the river or crossing the river. You're talking about land that moves away from the river for miles on both sides. Miles. They want to eliminate outboard motors in some areas, and then they want to reduce boat motor horsepower limits in other areas. They want to reduce the boat horsepower across the board and completely eliminate boats in some other areas. Now, they've not given us, this is like the EPA. There's no substantial evidence that they have as scientific backing for this. They're just saying that we need to do this. And so what we're saying is, where's your empirical evidence? Well, we don't have any. Well, here's what they want to do. They're going to try to scam their way through this, and they're holding some hearings and meetings. Guess who's at the bottom of this thing? The Sierra Club and other environmental groups, including the same groups who are in charge of the Blueway. The Sierra Club, the Audubon Society, the Nature Conservancy, all of these groups starting to sound familiar? Yeah, they're these international non-governmental organizations that are funded by groups like Agenda 21 supporters, all of these, George Soros-type funded groups. They come in here and they want to dictate what the rules are. Here's what they're planning to do. This is going to kill you. At first they said, well, we're going to hold a meeting down there in Van Buren, a little tiny town. It's the size of a postage stamp, right? It's got a population of a few hundred people. And then we're going to hold a meeting up here in St. Louis. And we're going to get feedback from everybody involved. Well, what they're really going to do is they are going to utilize the Delphi technique at this meeting, and we know they are because they do it routinely. And the Delphi technique says that you go to this meeting and they stand up there at the podium and they announce their plans, and then they pass out a flyer that says, please give us your comments. Then when all the comments come back, they say, see, we have a consensus. And the consensus from the general population says this is what we want. Well, for starters, there's two problems with that. One, the people who live in Van Buren, they're holding it during the middle of the day. Well, this is a farming community. These folks work hard. And they can't take off in the middle of the day to go over there and be berated by some knucklehead in the NPS and the Sierra Club. But secondarily, the population is very low around here. So even if they had a packed meeting, they might get 100 people. The second place they're going to hold a meeting is in St. Louis. And it's very interesting because where they've chosen to hold the meeting is right where the Sierra Club is headquartered, the same town. So they can load it up with their people and then say, see, you only had 50 or 100 people show up at your meeting. We've had 500 show up over here. Well, first of all, since when does St. Louis dictate what we can and cannot do with our rivers 4 hours away? I mean, do you think Chicago calls New York and asks for permission to pave its roads? I didn't think so. Do you think that Minneapolis Airport calls down to Dallas and says, hey, is it okay with you guys if we repave the runway? I don't think so. Do you think Mayor Nanny in New York called Chicago and said, what do you guys think about blocking sugary drinks? No. So why is it that a group of people from the Sierra Club, who have actually never even been here, most of them, are going to have some say-so in how to ban and limit the use of the river by the people who actually do live here? Well, they're environmentally conscious. No, you're politically unconscious if you think we're falling for that. What they're going to do is they're going to use the Delphi technique. There's two of these meetings, by the way, and they're on December 10th and December 11th, and we're requesting that people show up for these. There's a couple of people you can call if you want more information and you want to help us fight this. I'm going to give you the information right now. The one is on December, so there's December 10th at the Van Buren Youth and Community Center. That's at 6 to 9 p.m. Then there's one at 6 to 9 p.m. on December 11th at the Powder Valley Conservation Nature Center in Kirkwood, Missouri. Just conveniently happens to be the seat of power for the nature conservation groups, including the Sierra Club, who's the one who's really pushing this agenda. Then they've agreed, under pressure, by the way, from our own congressional representation, state and federal, to hold another one at the Salem City Hall, but they're going to hold that one from 10 to noon in the morning. And it'll be a Q&A meeting. When you hear the word Q&A, that tells you Delphi Technique is going to be in full-blown power. And it also tells you that how is it possible that you're going to hold a Q&A meeting at 10 o'clock in the morning when everybody around here is a farmer and is out there just trying to make sure that either their crops are working or they've got the hay pulled in or they're out there making sure that their cattle are eating. They do offer you a place to put comments online. And so I would strongly encourage anyone who's a listener here to go to parkplanning.nps.gov/OZAR. And I would encourage you to go in there and tell them, stay out. They have multiple levels of this planning thing that they've put together. And one option is to take no action. Then there's another option that has some limited action. Then there's a center option that has, it's like good, better, best, right? The center plan has some more draconian action. And then the third option is like, we own it, nobody gets on it. They're saying, well, we're opting for the middle of the road. So this is the middle of the road policy. What we're saying is take no action. And we're going to go one step further. We're actually putting a movement together, and you can help and participate in this, because what we're going to do is we're going to demand that the National Park Service turn the property back over to the state of Missouri and let our conservation department handle it. We've had enough with the overreach. And so we're going on the aggressive. We're going to give them a black eye. We want the property back. It's not yours in the first place. It never was. And we want it turned back over to the Missouri Conservation Department. Why is this important to you if you don't live in Missouri? I'm going to tell you why. Because you have national parks in your state, and they're doing the same crap to you there they're doing to us here. And this gives you an opportunity to learn from our process and stand on our shoulders to make your job that much easier to do it in your home state. So I'm asking you to participate and help us. Here's what you can do. One, if you want to go, I'm going to give you a couple of names and numbers of people you can call and some email. Mike Slack is one of them. Mike is a great coordinator and a great guy who's been working with America's Voice now for a long time on organizing stuff like this. His phone number is 417-264-2435. It's 417-264-2435. You can also reach him at Mike65807 at yahoo.com. That's Mike at 65807 at yahoo.com. The other person is Don Eagleman. Don runs the Campaign for Liberty group. It's kind of like a libertarian organization. Don's a great fella. You can communicate with him as well and coordinate your efforts, and they can kind of give you some ideas about how you can deal with this. You can reach Don by calling 417-372-7112. That's 417-372-7112. Or you can reach him at doneagleman@gmail.com. That's Don like Donald, Eagleman. And it's spelled like Eagle, M-A-N. Eagleman @gmail.com. Or you can send me an email, and you can ask me for, just put at the top of it, put at the top of it, Park Service, right? Or Riverways. So, and the subject line. So I know what it is. And you can email me at mike@americasvoicenow.org. That's mike@americasvoicenow.org. We want to have a ton of people show up and fight this with us. This is how we beat the Blueway back. Grassroots effort. And we want an outpouring of community help and assistance. If you cannot participate with us in that way, because you're in, Oregon, or you're in Miami, or you're in New York, or you're in Maine, or you're in Chicago, you can help us. We could use some donations to help the program. If you want to make a donation, you can send me an email to mike@americasvoicenow.org, and I can give you our P.O. box. The only thing I want you to do is somewhere on the outside of the envelope write Riverways donation, because we want to keep it appropriately tracked. So if you'd like to make a donation in ways that can help us fight this thing, please do so. We need to be able to get some newspaper articles out there and also advertising and things like that to fight back on this. If you want to mail us some donations, you can. The address is America's Voice Now, P.O. Box 1195. That's America's Voice Now, P.O. Box 1195. And the town is West Plains, 2 words, West, Plains, Missouri, 65775. The abbreviation for Missouri is MO, like Mo, Larry, and Curly. So it's America's Voice Now, P.O. Box 1195, West Plains, Missouri, 65775. If you'd like to go to the website for the park service and comment on it and rail against them, please do that. You can go there, and the website address is parkplanning.nps, National Park Service.gov. So it's parkplanning.nps.gov/OZAR. Okay? The reason why we want you to go there, and I don't care whether you're in Bent Elbow, Louisiana, or you're in Far Reach, Oregon, please comment and help us fight this thing, because we need the ability to be able to tell these guys to get lost. It's not their place. It's not, we got to get them out of our hair. And we just beat them on the Blueway, and now they're back trying to do it in another direction and hit us another way. This is an environmentalist-driven agenda. They're trying to implement Agenda 21 here for a couple of reasons. One, this is a very low population area. So when you look at it from their perspective, it's already halfway to pristine wilderness, the same wilderness they're looking for most of America to be turned into under Agenda 21. The second issue is it's a relatively low-income area, so they know that they're not going to get a whole lot of federal pushback in terms of legal battles, because they can beat us by attrition, right? Who's got, $50, $80, $100, and $250,000 to launch federal court battles? And they know it. The third issue is that this is a sparsely populated area in terms of its overall human population. But in addition to that, this is there's a lot of folks around here that are just plain country folks, and they don't sit there and watch the news and all of this kind of stuff, and they're not necessarily up on what's going on, and they find out about it afterwards. These are plain country folk here. And a lot of them aren't really politically aware, if you will. And these people in these environmental organizations, they're activists, but with lots of money. And they, get stuff done their way because they can exert all kinds of influential pressure, both lobbying, financially, with donations, and by having influence within the Park Service, the conservation departments, and stuff like that. This is how Agenda 21 is being implemented across the country, folks, and I'm guaranteeing you it's happening right in your backyard right now. You just don't know about it. The truth is, the 3 drafts that they're trying to promote have varying degrees of restriction. We want no action taken. That's the 4th one. And the reason we want no action taken is because we are working right now with our federal representative, our state House representatives, and our state Senate representatives to demand that all of the parks and all of the rivers be returned back to the state of Missouri. And we need some time to accomplish that. They want to pull out 15 miles of roads. They want to, and I got to tell you, there's a lot of national forest around here where I am. And they don't take care of it at all. They don't do any maintenance on it whatsoever. And they have all kinds of restrictions on what you can do, when you can use it, how you can use it. If you want to go camp there, it used to be you could just go camp. Now it's like $8 a day for a camp, for a tent, or $15 a day for a tent. I mean, it's just out of control. So help us fight this, and help us work through the issues here. You can help us by, one, going on and putting comments in about the article and having your input and your say. You can also help us financially. I gave you an address where you can make a donation if possible, or if you want to do it through our PayPal account, you can do that on our website at americasvoicenow.org. Just do me a favor and put some kind of a notation in there that I know it's for this fight, because otherwise I won't know, and it'll go into our general fund, which is kind of a joke. But if you're going to make a donation to help us fight this, then please just make some kind of a notation in the PayPal donation so that I know that it's dedicated for the Riverways fight, okay? And or you can mail it to us. And or you can call us up, and you can call any of those phone numbers I gave you earlier or email addresses, and you can ask us how you can help and participate. Or if you want to come and show up at one of the meetings and raise Cain with us. If you want practice on how to defeat the Delphi technique, hey, baby, this is a perfect opportunity, because we know they're going to use it on us. All right. I'm wrapping up for the morning, folks. Thank you for joining with us and riding with us this morning. Tomorrow is Thanksgiving, and I have something that I want to give thanks for. And that is the overwhelming and consistent level of support and encouragement that I get from you all the time. I know I'm a flea on the elephant's butt. And I'm out there beating the bushes on this stuff all the time. I know I've got a relatively, small audience. I mean, I'm not national. But I got to tell you, I get emails every once in a while that just blow my doors off. And it's touching and it's humbling, but it's also encouraging. And I get people who write to me from over the pond. I mean, I get stuff from the Netherlands and England, and I get stuff from other countries in Europe, and I get stuff from all over the country. And I'm so grateful for your support, and I'm so grateful for your encouragement, because there are days when I say to myself, man, I'm just beating my head against the concrete wall here. But at the same point in time, when I get a letter like that of support, or somebody makes a donation and says, hey, I just catch your program every once in a while, and I think it's worthwhile, and here's a little help. I tell you, to me, I'm grateful for that, and I give thanks for that, and I give thanks for you for paying attention, riding with us in the mornings, listening, sharing, working to educate yourself, utilizing these critical things. And I'm telling you, since I've been doing this critical thinking push, I definitely have seen a difference in you as a listener. The responses I get back from people, the way that you're arguing and placing your points out there, the blogs that people tell me they're writing and that they show me, I see a difference. And I know that we together can do this. And I'm grateful and I'm thankful for you as an audience, because if you weren't listening, I'm just another moot voice. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Have a great holiday. Take care of your family. Find some things in your life to be thankful for. And we'll see you on Friday. God bless you. You've been listening to America's Voice Now. You can find us on the web by going to americasvoicenow.org. You can find our Facebook page by going to facebook.com/America's Voice Now. And then you can also find our YouTube channel at youtube.com/America's Voice Now. Basically, if you can remember the phrase America's Voice Now, type that into any browser and you'll find oodles of ways to find us and get to us. God bless you. Have a great weekend. We'll see you.